both my mentor and my mastermind leader said, John, that is a bad idea. You should not do that. There's a reason why there isn't a 7-day week podcast. You'll get burnt out. Your listeners will get burnt out, X, Y, Z. And I just had to kind of think back, and say, hey, when I was 22 years old and I was in charge of, 16 men and 4 tanks in Fallujah, Iraq, my commander looked at me and said, John, you're going to need to make decisions on your own. You're going to have to not always look up the chain of command for orders because we're not always going to be there. You have to take that responsibility. You have to be a leader. And so, there I was 10 years later at 32 years old saying, hey, I had to make decisions on the ground in Iraq, during a firefight, during a war. Like, you better believe that I feel like I can take the lead here. And when I know in my gut and in my intuition that I can do a 7-day week podcast and that the world needs it and that there will be other people out there that want this, I'm not going to let, outside influences distract me from that. I had the self-confidence built in. And that's a huge thing that I did establish within the military was self-confidence. Knowing that, I had to make the decision, I had to follow my intuition, I had to follow my gut. And sometimes I was going to get it wrong, and then I had to take responsibility for that, but that's okay. And that's just the reality of being a leader. And I wanted to be a leader in the podcasting space, in the entrepreneurship space. And I knew, it was going to be by doing a 7-day week show and really kind of moving into that blue ocean, so to speak, not the red ocean where everybody else was swimming. I wanted to move into that new blue ocean of the daily show and just the crazy, the crazy schedule, the amount and all this stuff. Like, I wanted to be there. And then I knew that I could rely on the fact that, hey, I was trained to be a logistics officer. I had to know, how to move an entire division, from Kansas to Iraq and all in between, planes, trains, and automobiles literally were involved. And that was, just this logistics potential nightmare. But if you just, eat an elephant one bite at a time, you just take one step at a time. And so I knew that taking on the 7-day week podcast was a huge, huge project, but I could just focus on it one step at a time. I had done huge projects before. I knew that I could do this. So it was the discipline, it was the training that really allowed me to sit down and create a schedule that really allowed me to succeed from day one with EO Fire. I haven't missed an episode since.